What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? Is everybody awake? Man, y'all getting your worship on. Now y'all got quiet all of a sudden? Hey, listen, I'm glad to be hanging out with you guys this week. Let me introduce myself. I told Patrick, he said, hey, you want me to introduce you before you go out there? I said, no, I'll introduce myself because I do my own entrances when I walk in places, you know, like play my own music and stuff. No, not really. I don't do that. Oh, look, a table just for me. Thank you. This is awesome. Hey, listen. Hey, guys. Like I said, glad to be hanging out with you guys. My name is Aaron Fields. For you guys that don't know me, I am the children's minister actually in South Point, Ohio at Cross Community Church. I've been there for about a year, and it's been an awesome year for me and my family. I'm married to my wife. Can you believe that? I'm married to my wife. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? Yeah. 9 years, 10 years coming up in August, so 10 years, man. The big 1-0, man. I'm excited. So really, really cool. But we have three boys, 7, 5, and 2. And it's insane. My oldest, he's 2. He's going to turn 3 on our anniversary. He was born on our anniversary. So goodbye anniversary once he was born, right? But it's all good, man. I'm loving life right now. God has just been doing some amazing things. And I'm super pumped to spend this weekend with you guys. Are you guys super pumped to be here this weekend? Okay, now this is called Transform Weekend, correct? All right? Transform. I'm judging by some of the shirts I see. Okay, so I'm guessing that, yeah, it's Transform Weekend. So that means that we're looking for a transformation. We're looking for a change, correct? We're looking for something to be happening this week. For some of you, maybe you came because, hey, you just want to hang out. Somebody invited you, so you thought you'd come. Maybe somebody paid your way, and you're like, yeah, sure, whatever, for free. I don't have anything else going on. I don't have anything better to do. Maybe some of you, your parents were like, you are going. I don't care what you say. You are going. You need Jesus. Or I don't know what they may have said or got here. Maybe some of you guys have been counting down the days till this weekend. That's awesome. However you guys are here, you guys are here. And that's awesome, okay? And I'm glad you guys are able to be a part of this weekend. I'm excited to be able to be a part of this. A couple things I want you guys to remember as we're moving forward. What you guys are going to be doing after we spend time with you, of course, you guys are going to be going to your host homes. I know you guys have been learning all about that before we stepped on stage here tonight and learned about what you guys are going to be experiencing throughout this weekend. But a couple pointers I just want to give you guys, okay? The number one thing that I want to let you guys know is try your best to pay attention. And I'm not just talking about right now, like, yeah, of course I want you to pay attention right now, because I will throw things at you if you're not. But, I don't throw things, I let other people do that, all right? But try your best to pay attention. And when I mean pay attention, not just like, I want you looking at me, listening to every single word, hanging on every single syllable that comes out of my mouth. That's not what I mean. What I mean is, I want you guys to take an opportunity to let God speak to you in every situation. The good things, the bad things, when you feel good, when you feel like blood, when you are tired, when you're going crazy and wild because you're having so much fun, when you're happy, when you're angry, let God speak to you throughout this entire week. Because I truly believe, whether you believe it or not, I believe that God has set up this weekend for every single one of you. You are supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be here. The band's about, give it up, man. Didn't the band just rock it out? Bring it right from the beginning. You guys did awesome, man. I'm looking forward to what else they're bringing to the table. So, don't disappoint. I'm setting you guys really up there, okay? No, they're doing an awesome job, guys. But listen, they're supposed to be here, all right? God has set up this time for you and I to be here, because He wants to do something with us. And that's pretty cool, that the Creator of the universe wants to take an opportunity to set aside time and says, I have something specifically for you. Now, as much as beneficial as you think this is for you guys, this is for us too, all right? I'm planning on getting a lot from this weekend and just seeing God do some amazing and powerful things. So, I want you guys to pay attention more than anything else to God and see what He has to say. The other thing I want you guys to do is I want you guys to make a point that you are going to make a friend with someone you are not friends with, okay? You are going to find someone, like even if it's someone maybe you kind of know or you don't know at all, or maybe you don't even really like them, you are going to take an opportunity to say, listen, I'm going out of my way to say, hey, I want to talk to you. I want to know more about you. I want to know your story. You will have those opportunities this week. Take advantage of it, guys, because in the end, we're all in this together. We're all supposed to be a part of this thing called community, all right? That's the way Jesus had it set up. So we're all going to do that, okay? I'm looking forward to sharing with you guys a little bit about this idea about moving forward. Every one of us, I'm just going to scoot this. I'm going to try my best not to break. I see it. I see it. Got great peripheral, all right? I'm on it, all right? Not really. That was just pure luck there. But here's the thing, guys. We are going to talk about moving forward. We're going to talk about the idea. It's two letters, one word, one syllable. Go. We're going to talk. She just said transform. That's 2 syllables, honey. I'm sorry. But listen. So, here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to be talking about this idea about going. We're going to talk about this idea about moving forward. We have to make sure that in our life as believers and in our life in general, that we're always moving forward, that we're always making a transition, that we're always pushing to something different, all right? If we all just decided to stay where we were at and do what we're doing, we would all, one day, all just live with our mom and dad for the rest of our life and probably have to move into the basement and, you know, that kind of deal, all right? And we don't want to be that person, right? So you want to keep moving, all right? Listen, I love my mom and my dad. I love hanging out with my mom and dad. But I don't think I could live with them anymore. If I had to, for some reason, I had to move back in with my mom and dad, that would be a rough relationship right there. That would really make it rocky, all right? But it's because I know that I have to move forward in my life. I have to, I believe the phrase is grow up, right? And the fact of the matter is that we all have to grow up. I don't know about you, but I think growing up stinks sometimes, doesn't it? Maybe you guys are like all excited, like one day I'm going to be able to do that when I'm an adult and I'm going to be able to do this. But let me tell you, as many problems as you guys have right now as teenagers, you're going to have problems too when you're an adult, all right? The things that bug you now, you're just going to have something else that bugs you when you grow up, all right? It's just how life goes. So all we have to do is ask ourselves, do we want to live in this world where we are going to just put the brakes on everything and act like we don't have to move forward and ignore stuff that's happening? Or we can move forward. Or we can actually take a step in the right direction in everything that we're doing. Now, I want to share with you that idea about go. I want to talk to you about how we can all go right now. How we can all make a movement. So I want you guys to say, if you want my energy, you guys got to give me energy too tonight, all right? So here's what I want. All right, say go now.
Go. Yeah. Go now.
Go now. Not like right now, say it. It's go now, all right? You ready? Here, say go now.
Go now.
One more time, go now.
Go now.
Don't. Okay, fine, I will. I'll leave. Y'all are the worst. No, I'm kidding. So, go now, all right? That's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about having a little urgency in our life. We're going to talk about having a little, have a little fire put up behind it and saying, well, you better move forward. You better do something about it right now. You can't just stay where you guys are at. Now, listen, if you hear a little twang coming out of my accent, I'm from Southern Ohio, okay? People think I'm like from Alabama or Texas and stuff. I went to school at Cedarville, which is not too far from you guys, all right? And I met so many people and they were like, where are you from? I'm like, I'm from Ohio, just like you are, okay? And when I talk about Southern, I mean like, I was telling somebody tonight, like, you know how, I know that's not exactly what Ohio looks like, but that's about as close as I can do. You see you got Ohio here, right? All right? Do you not see Ohio there? Do you know that little, right down there at the bottom of Ohio? Right, just that little, that's where I'm at, all right? So, like, I'm literally like Kentucky and West Virginia, all right? Like, right there. So there's a lot of country that comes out in my voice, which I didn't know I had until I went to college, all right? So, understand, you want to laugh at my accent, I have no problem with that, all right? I didn't even know that I had one. But understand, guys, that for you and I, what we have to do is we have to move forward. We have to move forward physically. We have to move forward spiritually. We have to keep pushing to do something different in our lives. Now, for some of you tonight, this may be, you've done this before, you know how it goes, you know what it looks like, you know what you need to say and what you need to do in order for it. But I want to challenge you tonight to make it a little different, that you are going to push in a different direction than maybe you've gone before. Maybe you're going to get just a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe you're going to find yourself in a situation where you have that conversation with someone you don't know and you really didn't want to have that conversation. Maybe you're going to step up and do a little more and work a little harder than maybe you did last time or whatever the case may be. Maybe for some of you, are asking this question tonight, and I don't know. I don't know you guys. I know some of you, I've seen some of your faces before, and I know some of your stories, but really when it comes down to it, I don't know where you're at in your faith life. I don't know where your relationship is with God. But maybe for some of you tonight, you need to go forward with Jesus. Maybe he's been bugging you about things, and you felt him tugging on you a little bit, and you've been pulling back, and you decide, I know you want me to do this, God, but I don't want to deal with that. And so you decide, you know what, I'm not going to make any changes. I'm going to stay right where I'm at because I'm comfortable with where I'm at. I'm going to ask you guys to push through that this weekend. I'm going to ask you when you guys are at your houses and you guys are speaking and you guys are talking to each other and you're going through God's Word, that you make a step in the right direction of saying, all right, maybe I'm going to share what I feel like God's telling me right now, even though I don't really want to say anything because I just feel like I'm wasting everybody's time. I want to talk about that. I want to see where we go with that because, listen, no matter who we are, no matter what we're doing, whether you're an adult, whether you're a kid, we all have to take this progression of life. We all have to do it. I have 3 boys. I remember not too long ago. Guys, listen, this will blow your mind. Well, maybe not blow your mind. It blows my mind. Not too long ago, I remember being one of you guys sitting there going, one day, man, I'll graduate from high school, and one day I'll go to college, and I'll get married, and I'll have kids. And it's like, wait, all that's happened. Like, just like that. It happens so quick, guys. And you're going to look back on your life and go, did it count? Did those things that happened in my life truly count? Did it matter? Or was I so wrapped up in things that I thought were so important instead of truly what it meant to follow Jesus and to move forward? So I want to share with you guys some different scripture that I believe talks about this, the verb go, and how we can push forward. I want to share with you guys really quick, if I can, in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 16, this really, really cool story, all right? I want to share this with you. It's down at the end of Mark chapter 16, in verse 15. Now, this is a proclamation from Jesus, all right? Now, what's happening here? Jesus has risen from the grave. We got Easter coming up in a couple weeks. Y'all psyched for Easter? All right, so all's on its way. Good. All right, so Easter's coming up really, really soon. We're going to hear about the Easter story. 3 days later, he rises from the grave, and he's alive. Oh, we're going to be doing all that stuff, right? Which is awesome, which is amazing. This is powerful. And so that's what's happening in the story. Jesus is now risen from the grave. We have all these witnesses of people that have saw him. He has been with the disciples. He's hung out with these guys for this amount of time. And now he's ascending into heaven. And he gives a commandment to the people who were following him. He gives them a commandment of how they are to live their life after he is gone. And this is what he has to say. It's in verse 15. I want to read this for you. And he said to them, go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation. Now, pretty simple verse. Some of you probably remember, maybe it reminds you of another verse. You know, the thing about the Gospels is a lot of times you have a lot of the repeats because different people are telling the same stories and giving you things of places that they remember. Now, this, of course, is coming from Mark, all right? His name was actually John Mark, and he was sharing his side of the story of what he heard, all right? He was actually with the Apostle Paul, okay? And he was sharing this story. Maybe you guys have heard it. Go into all the world, preach, teach, and baptize in my name, in the name of the Father, Son. Different ways that it's been put out there. But Jesus, in the midst of all this craziness, he gives a commandment as he's leaving. And what does he say? Here goes Jesus. Now, the story, as you find out in Matthew, is Jesus is going back up into heaven, all right? Now, could you imagine this right now if I was just chilling with you guys and all of a sudden I'm like, bye, and I just started like floating out. You all be like, where is he? Like, and I'm sure that's what all the disciples were doing in this moment. All the people that were following Jesus. Here he goes up into heaven, and he's flying up there right now, and you're going like, is he coming down? Like, is he just going to keep going up? It's like a balloon. You guys ever watch that helium balloon forever, and you're just waiting for it to disappear, and you can just see it forever? You think they did that with Jesus? Like, he just kept going until you couldn't see. Like, that's insane, right? That's crazy. But an actual person, it wasn't a balloon. This was a human being that did this. And he goes up into heaven, and I'm sure all the disciples are still doing this. I can kind of see him. I think that's him. No, that's a bird. No, that's, like, they're still doing that. And yet, what was the commandment that he gave them? What'd he say? Go, get out of here. You got stuff to do. Why y'all hanging around here looking at me flying up in the air? Go. You got work to do. You now know what the truth is. You now know what the gospel is. You know that it can change lives, so you need to go. Get out of here. Start going to everywhere and telling them the good news, the gospel. You need to tell them what's happening. Now, I need y'all to help me out, all right? If this is true, all right? If this is true, I just need you to say truth, all right? If it's true, just can you do that? Just truth, all right? If it's true, you got to tell me. All right? Anybody else besides me a procrastinator in the room? Truth. Okay. How many of y'all, just real quick, because y'all like to do that, raise your hand if there's anybody you're like, no, I do things on time. My time's never wasted. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, so if you're a procrastinator, tell me truth. Yeah, okay. All right, me too. All right, listen. Let me also say, just the fact that we just admitted all that, I don't want you guys to think for a second that I'm saying that's okay. All right? Because it's not okay. Like, do your homework on time, go to class on time, be at church on time, all that stuff. Be on time, man. Be the way you're supposed to be. I know, man. I'm bad at it too, all right? My wife, I think that's why God gave me my wife, because she hates to be late for stuff. And I usually could give a rip. You know what I'm saying? I could be late for everything because I'm not good with time. It's like, hey, we got to leave in 5 minutes. And then I find like 50,000 things that I want to do at the house before I leave. Like, I don't know why my mind works out. I'm not good with time, guys. It's the worst thing in the world. Like, it's a 15-minute drive, and I'm like, yeah, I can get there in 2 minutes. I can make that happen. No, I'm awful with time. Procrastination, guys, it's a problem that we all have. I wonder if the disciples procrastinated. I wonder if they were like, so he said go, so you go that way and I go this way? Like, what was the plan? What were they thinking? What was happening? Did they waste time? Did they put together a plan and then disperse? Did they go to all these different places? Did they go immediately like Jesus told them to? Or did they come up with a game plan? This is very interesting to me of how he ran this. But understand this, that as you're reading this story, and as Jesus is telling him to go forward, or telling them all to move, to go forward, and to make a change, I could see the disciples in this moment coming up with a lot of excuses why not to go. All right? Because they probably had some legit things to go off of. Like, oh yeah, that Jesus dude who literally just rose from the grave a few days ago, and the one that I saw do all these amazing, powerful miracles and these amazing things, yeah, he's gone now. Like, he was the dude who basically, it's like this summer when LeBron leaves Cleveland. Cleveland's just going to go, let's just give up. I know I just made some of y'all mad right there, but I'm telling y'all he's gone. I love Cleveland, I love LeBron, but he's gone, y'all. I'm just telling you right now. Sorry, just had a sidebar there. But anyways, so here's the thing, guys. So that's exactly probably what they were going through. Many of us come up with excuses. Many of us come up with different things. How about this? My kids, every time when I tell them, okay guys, it's time to wrap it up. Let's head downstairs. Let's get in our beds. It's time for bedtime. We're going to go down. We're going to do our Bible story. We're going to get in bed. You guys will have a little bit of time to watch. I'll turn the TV on, and then we're going to bed. Do you know what happens when I tell them it's time to go to bed? They have 50,000 things they have to do right then. Daddy, I'm thirsty. Daddy, I'm hungry. Oh no, I got to get that toy. Remember you told me that we could do this sometime? Like, they always bring up the thing that you promised you would do with them at that moment. They're like, how come we can't? Dad, I got to pee so bad. Like, they come up with 50,000 things because they don't want to go to bed because they just realized that the day is over. They just realized that all this time that they thought they had, all this chance that they had to go outside and play, or to go talk to their mom, or to play with the dog, or to do this and that, or hang out with each other, or play with their toys, that the day's over. They just realize it, and they go into panic mode. This is what happens, guys, when we don't do a very good job of numbering the days that God gives us. So I want to share with you a little bit more right back in there in the story of Mark 16. I want to go into even a closer story of one of the disciples. Can I do that with you guys? Let me share it with you, okay? I'm going to read with you at the beginning of Mark chapter 16. If you got your Bibles, I'm going right to the beginning of Mark chapter 16. I'm going to read 8 verses for you. And this is really, really cool. I want you guys to see this. This is a woman named Mary Magdalene. How many of you have ever heard of Mary Magdalene? Anybody heard of her? Okay. Now, a lot of times in our heads, guys, what do? When we say disciples, what do we think of? We think of 12 dudes, don't we? Yeah. When I say disciples, the first thing that comes through my head is 12 guys. There was these dudes, and they did all this cool stuff with Jesus, and nobody else got to hang out with Jesus but these 12 dudes. Not true. Not how it went down. Now, were the 12 close to Jesus and a little tighter with Jesus maybe than a lot of us? Absolutely. Jesus had even tighter than that. He actually had 3 other people that he hung out with. Peter, James, and John within the 12. He was even tighter with them. See, Jesus is just like us. You got a circle, then an inner circle, then an inner circle to the inner circle. It's like an inner circle inception, you know what I'm talking about? This is exactly what Jesus had that too, because Jesus was human. He had friends. He had people he liked. That's how he rolled, all right? But one of those disciples was Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene shared this many times about how she was a part of this. And here's what's cool about Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene actually had several demons casted from her body. I don't know about you guys, I've never been demon possessed, but I'm sure that's a bad day. Okay? And that's exactly the position that she was in. Jesus casted these demons out of her, and from that moment, she started following Jesus. And she was very influential in many decisions that were made, and Jesus totally flipped the script on what it meant to be a woman when he introduced Mary into the picture, and when she started following Jesus just like the rest of the disciples were. She has such a cool story. And I want to share a little bit of that with you in a second, but first I want to go ahead and read this for you real quick. Mark chapter 16. Here's what it says. When the Sabbath was over, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Salome brought spices so that they might anoint Jesus' body. Very early on the first day of the week, just after sunrise, they were on their way to the tomb. And they asked each other, "Who will roll the stone away from the entrance of the tomb?" But when they looked up, they saw that the stone, which was very large, had been rolled away. As they entered the tomb, they saw a young man dressed in white robes sitting on the right side. And they were alarmed. "Don't be alarmed," he said. "You are looking for Jesus the Nazarene, who was crucified. He has risen. He is not here. See the place where they laid him. But go," there's that word, "but go, tell his disciples and Peter, he is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him just as he told you." Trembling and bewildered, the women went out and fled from the tomb. They said nothing to anyone because they were afraid. So, here we have Mary and a few other ladies. They're going to the tomb of Jesus. Now, at this point, they still think he's in there. They think he's dead. They think he's gone. They're bringing burial spices, okay? And what that was, basically, in this day and age, that'd be like taking flowers to a grave, just to pay your respects and to say, "Hey, listen, I'm mourning right now for losing you, and this is how I show it." And they would bring the spices to the tomb of the people who had passed away. It was Jewish tradition, all right? And when they do that, they get there, and they expect to see 2 Roman guards, a big, large rock in front of it, and they get there, it's open. There's nobody in it. Guards are nowhere to be seen. It's this crazy, wild scene. And they actually look in. The story in Mark says that they look in, and there's a dude clothed in white attire, and he looks amazing. He looks like he's glowing. It's this insane picture. And they say, "Listen, he's not here. He's gone. He's risen. He told you guys that he would do that. He is alive. He is actually not even dead anymore. He is alive, and he's actually going into Galilee. You need to go tell Peter. You need to go tell the rest of the disciples. They need to make that. You guys need to make that happen." So in this moment, it says actually that they were so afraid that when they fled from the tomb, they didn't say anything to anyone. Now, why is that significant? It shares it a little different in the other Gospels. It shares it a little bit different that they did eventually go and tell the disciples, or they shared it with other people. But Mark actually shows us that they were so scared, it says trembling and bewildered, that they wouldn't even tell anybody after they left the tomb. Now, here in this moment, they decided for a moment that they weren't going to move forward. They were so scared that they weren't even going to say anything. They were so scared in this moment that they weren't even going to share the gospel truth. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to go about it. It's so interesting to me that in this moment that they just found out that Jesus truly is alive, and in that moment they didn't want to say anything. They didn't want to say. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if I saw someone, all right, if something tragic happened to you, and we're like, R.I.P. Molly. You know what I'm talking about? And then the next day, some dude walks up and is like, "Hey, she's alive." Yeah. She's going to be at church tomorrow, all right? She'll be there, all right? "Hey, you need to go tell all the students, let everybody know." I'd be like, "What?" I'd be like telling everybody. But in this moment, why is Mary so scared? Let me give you another idea. Let me give you a little background, too, of Mary. Not only had Mary had these demons casted out, but you know what was more of a strike against Mary than the demons being casted out? And I'm just being real with you, all right? I'm just being real. She was a woman. And you're like, what does that have to do with anything, Aaron? Like, what? had a lot to do with this time, all right? I'm just going to be real with you. I'm just going to just share the truth with you, all right? In Bible times, women were not seen as that very important, guys. And I'm all about girl power. I'm about all that, man. Listen, but the Bible in that time, listen, it was like man, all right, lady, all right, like, and then maybe dog about right there. Listen, I'm not insulting. I'm telling you the truth. It was bad, so bad that in Bible times, listen, if a woman, let's say you were a witness in court. If I said, all right, I saw something awful happen, but I got a witness. I know how I can get this guy in jail. I know how I can and I say, hey, I got this witness. And it's a girl. They'd be like, psh, no one believes a girl. Forget it. Just kick her out of here. She's not going to help anything. That's real. I'm not being funny right now. That's literally that their testimony did not hold up in court just for the simple fact that they were a woman. So in other words, Mary Magdalene, who had a sketchy past, who was a woman, had a lot of things that were not going her way. So in this moment, as she has witnessed the resurrection, she has this moment where she hears about Jesus, she knows about Jesus. In this moment, she doesn't say anything to anyone. Why? Because she thought she would be put forth with so many different things that would hold her back, that people wouldn't believe her. She was scared that because of what she was going to say, that no one would even take into consideration that she was telling the truth. Because in the case of her, if she were to come and they all claimed that she was a liar, they could have gotten rid of her. They could have done something to punish her. Just say, get out of here. We don't want you. They could have done all these. And so her and the other women, they're just terrified. They're scared. So in the very moment of this, they're just like, who do I tell? I don't know. I'm so scared. I'm so, it literally says bewildered. This is crazy. Like, how am I supposed to make sense of what's happening right now? So all this stuff is going through their head. And in that moment, they don't move forward. They don't make a change in life. They don't see anything that happens. So I want to ask you guys this, and I really want you to think about this tonight. As we're talking about moving forward, as we're talking about really going right now and having a sense of urgency to our life, do we not, listen, for those of you who believe in Jesus, believe in the gospel, believe that He can transform you, how many of you know that Jesus can change a life? How many of us know that Jesus can change a life? Me too, absolutely. Then how come, if we truly believe that it can change a life, how come we do not live a life every single day where we're sharing that story? Think about it. Think about our lives. I watched an interview with an atheist. He said, listen, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in religion. I think it's all the worst. I think it all should be. But listen, the people that I've run into, if they truly call themselves Christians, if they truly call themselves a follower of Jesus, why are they not sharing Jesus every single moment of their life? It was pretty convicting to me. It was like, they're right. They're truly right. Why am I not making more of an opportunity to share the gospel everywhere that I go? And ask yourself this. Why don't we go? What is it that's holding you back? What are you waiting for? I guess is the question. What are you waiting for? What are we truly, if we stand here and we sing songs to Jesus and we put our hands up, we close our eyes and we worship Him and we say, God, you're amazing and you're such an amazing, hallelujah, what a Savior. And we sing these words and they're so powerful and they're so awesome. Yet then we walk out of that door, we're like, if Jesus, asked that guy to go and then he asked me about church, maybe I'll mention church, but I'm not going to go out of my way to really share with him because that might be awkward, and I don't want to be weird for the rest of our lives, So this is the realness of it. This is what we all do. So the question is, what is it that we're waiting for? I want to break it down for you guys a little bit. Too many times, I don't have like this point 1, point 2, point 3 lesson for you tonight, all right? But I do want to give you this. A recent poll that was actually put out by Barna, he actually broke down the top excuses of why Christians do not share their faith. The top excuses of why Christians do not share their faith. Now, there was plenty more, but I kind of broke it down into a top 3 for you guys. All right, I actually joined one on together. I had 4 and I put them together. But I want to give you 3 things here really quick of the top excuses of why we don't share our faith. The first one that we hear is this, and this is funny to me. We either say, I don't have time, all right, or I have plenty of time. Now think about this. I don't have time or I have plenty of time. What does that mean? That means, number one, I don't have time. Listen, I'm just so... Have you guys ever... Be real with me. Have you ever made the statement, oh, I'm just so busy? Has anyone else said that besides me before? Just so busy. We do it all the time. Anytime I talk to people, it's like, hey, how are you doing? Doing great. How's life going? Man, I'm just so busy. You don't know. I am just so busy. And you just want to look at them sometimes and go, well, I'm busy too. Like, thank you for letting me know that, but I'm busy too. We all think that we're busy. And that's not saying that you're lying. I'm sure you are very busy. I'm sure that you listen. I hear some of y'all schedules about what y'all are doing with school and stuff, and I'm like, good luck with that. You know what I mean? Like, now I ain't about that life anymore. All right, I graduated college. I'm done with it. No more homework. None of that. I ain't doing it anymore. All right. So I feel your struggle. But too many times we say, I'm just so busy, so I don't have enough time. Listen, I don't have time. I got to get from this classroom to this classroom, and I got to eat my lunch so I can get to this, I got to do this to get ready for that test, and then I got to get to, band practice after school, and then, I got to, basketball, we're coming up on the tournament, we got to get ready for that, and, we got travel ball this weekend, and, that's going to be going all day long, and I won't be, we probably won't make it back for church. I hope we do, or we're not going to have it. I'm just so busy, so busy. And in the midst of all that, you have no time to tell people about Jesus. You have no time to spend time with Jesus, to read God's Word. We do one thing at my church in our small groups. Every single week, we have this little program that we use to try and get people in God's Word. We call it cross-training. And it's on our app. And all you got to do is bring it up. It literally, what I always tell people, it takes a bathroom break to read. Honestly. Like, sit down, read it, you're done. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, that's what I tell people. It's not that big of a commitment. Yet, do you know what we have every single week? Adults, teens alike, when we say, hey, listen, because we just have 5 for each week. We say, hey, how are you doing on your 5 readings? And always someone says, oh, I didn't do any of them. And the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, I'm just so busy. I just have no time. You literally are so busy that you cannot read something off of your phone for 2 minutes? I do not believe that. I just watched you on your phone on Facebook for 20 minutes. I don't believe that. So we live in this world, I'm just so busy. Or we do this, I don't have time, or I have plenty of time. I got plenty of time. You know what that means? That means, I'll do it later. This goes back to the procrastinator side of me, right? This goes back to the idea, well, I'll see him tomorrow. I'll invite them to church next week. Hey, I'll have plenty of time to tell them about Jesus. Hey, you know what? I want to live this kind of lifestyle right now. When I get older, that's when I'll start really following Jesus. Right now, I can just kind of hang out and do some fun stuff, and I don't really have to. And you know what? I don't have a lot of time, but you know what? I'd rather do this right now. And this is what we got plenty of time. I'm a teenager. Just let me soak my wild oats and live the life that I want to, Mom. Dad, quit telling me what to do. This is my life, right? I got plenty of time. Listen, I'll go to church with you later. I'll tell that person about Jesus. I love that person, but they don't want to hear that, right? So this is what we do, right? We spend this entire time living this life of, I don't have time or I have plenty of time. The second one is, no one cares. No one cares. Many times, we have this negative mindset when it comes to the gospel and when it comes sharing with sharing Jesus with other people. We tell ourselves that they don't want to hear it. We're just wasting their time. They're just going to roll their eyes. They're going to hate me. I'm not doing it. No one cares. It's just a wah, wah, in every single thing that you do, right? How many of us sometimes force ourselves to ask somebody to church and we just think in the back of our head, they're going to say no. They're going to say no. One thing we've talked about recently, the staff at our church, is we've talked about this idea of stop assuming people's no's for them. And that means that we can't just say, well, this person needs to get involved. We'd love to have this person. Well, no, they won't do it. They don't ever do anything. They are useless. I don't even know why they come to church. Like, this is what we do. But we have to start saying, no, listen. We're going to let Jesus do something in this person's life, And stop assuming that they're going to say no. You guys and myself, when we invite people, when we tell people about Jesus, when we understand that Jesus wants to transform someone's life, we can't live this life of saying, well, they're going to say no. No one cares. They don't care. They don't really care about church. They don't really care about that. And you know what, frankly? Most of the people in church don't even care. They don't, that person came in church and no one said hi to them and they, they just came and they didn't have a good time and the game was lame and we didn't, the songs were okay, but no one cares. No one cares. This is the attitude we have throughout our lives, guys. And this is how we treat Christianity many times. People do not care. So that's one of the other excuses we use. And the last one is this, and this goes straight with Mary Magdalene. I'm afraid. One of the top excuses we use to not move forward in our faith life is because we're afraid. The question you have to ask yourself is, what are you afraid of? What are you truly afraid of? Now, one thing that I've recognized in my life for the past few years is that I've developed a lot more anxiety than I've ever had in my life. And I do this. Is anyone as sick in the head as I am? Do you all lay in bed sometimes and think up weird scenarios of things that would just be awful if that happened, and then you can't sleep the rest of the night? Anybody else like me? What is that? What is that? Sick in the head, man. There's something wrong with me, man. I do it all the time. I just lay there and I'm like, boy, that would be really awkward if that ever happened. And then I can't sleep. I can't sleep, and I hate my life. You know what I'm talking about? This is what we do. It's messed up, man. Listen, we do it all the time. And then what we do you know why that happens? It's a fear of the unknown, man. What? And it goes back to this idea that we assume that no one cares. We assume that people are going to say no. We assume that if we ask somebody to do something, that it's going to be a negative context. It's going to be a negative response that we get from that. So we live this life of, oh my gosh, I know I need to tell that person about Jesus, but what if they hate me after it's over? What if they never speak to me again? What if they start telling my other friends, he's a freak, don't talk to him? And then I don't have any friends, then I got to move schools, and then, I don't like that school either. And then I start, I want to be on the basketball team, but, they only allow so many people on the team, and it's already started. And this is where your mind goes. And then you go crazy. This is what we do. I think I've arrived, okay? And this is what happens. We do this to ourselves. And it's based out of fear. It's truly driven by fear. And that's exactly what's happening to Mary. Mary, in this moment, as she's found out something amazing and powerful and mighty and something that could be just amazing, she decides for a moment to be driven by fear. And because she's driven by fear, she's actually pumping the brakes. And she's not moving forward with what's happening in her life. Ask yourself this. Do you tell yourself, I don't have enough time to tell people about Jesus? Do you ask yourself, I have plenty of time to tell them about Jesus? Because I got to tell you guys something. And I'm not here to be a Debbie Downer or anything like that, but I'm just going to be real with you guys, all right? The Bible tells us 70 years, 80 if you're lucky. That's what you got in this world. 70 years, 80 if you're lucky. Now, I don't know about you, but I think I'm going to live to like 175, all right? But probably not, all right? So 70 to 80 years, if I'm lucky. So that means that I'm heading up, I'll be heading towards those golden years not too long, all right? And so I don't have much time left on this earth. I don't have a lot of time left to tell people about Jesus. And for you guys, maybe you don't live this way. That's awesome if you don't. But maybe for some of you, you're living this life of, I got all the time in the world. I'm going to be here forever. I'm going to be in junior high forever. I'm going to be in high school forever. This is never going to end. Like, it's just going to keep happening. It happens so fast. You know who told us that? Moses in Psalms. He said 70 to 80 years if you're lucky. He called out to God and he said, teach us to number our days so that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Number your days. So what I'm giving you guys, I'm basically giving you the cheat code of life right now. 70 to 80 years. There's your goal. All right? There's the deadline. You have to be done before 70. And what does that mean? We need to start sharing more. We need to start telling people more about Jesus. I want to give you guys these stats, all right? I think these are interesting, all right? Teenagers, this is how you spend an average week and weekend, all right? Now, for some of you, of course, they will fluctuate. For some of you, they'll be way more. Some of you, they'll be way less. But here's, revolved all around, this is from Barna. This is how all teenagers spend their weeks and their weekends. During the weekdays, On average, you get 8 hours of sleep. All right? On the weekends, 10 hours. All right? So you guys are sleeping in apparently on Saturdays and Sundays. All right? Weekdays, education, 7 hours. Weekends, 1 hour. That's like, Saturday school or different stuff like that. Media and communication, that's your phone. That's the laptop. That's TV or whatever you guys are doing. During the week, 2 hours. During the weekend, 4 hours. So some of you are going like, oh no, I want that thing way more than that. But that's average, all right? That's average, all right? Leisure, that's taking a vacation or going on a trip somewhere. 1 hour on the weeks and almost 2 hours on the weekends. Eating and drinking, 1 hour a day during the weeks and a little bit more on the weekends. Playing sports, 0.7 hours playing sports, 0.9 hours on the weekends. So we're getting a little less active there, my friends. Grooming, fellas. Grooming, on average, 0.9 hours a week, or on a weekday, and 0.9 hours on the weekend. So they're actually the same. So some of y'all ladies that got to brush that stuff out for 9 hours. All right, my wife's got real long hair, and it's just like Chewbacca, just, was chilling in my bathroom earlier, man. I'm just like, what is this, Listen, I didn't know. I had a brother growing up, but like living with a woman, you get like these balls. I get these balls of hair in my shirts all the time. I'm like, what is this? And it's her hair that's like, I'm like, what is this? My wife's hair is like wool, man. I mean, that thing's thick. It kills me, man. It's all over all my stuff. That's a sidebar. Check this out. This is crazy. We also, so working and volunteering, doing extra stuff like that, 0.5 hours on the weekdays and 0.8 hours on the weekends. Other, whatever that is, 1.7 hours during the week. That's anything else you can think of, 1.8 hours on the weekends. Religious activities, 0.1 hours on the weekdays and 0.3 hours on the weekends. So that's just the idea of what your average week for an average, everyday teenager. That's what's happening. That's what your week looks like. That's what your weekend looks like. So what is my point to you guys? What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that in all these things that we're doing, we tend to act like we have absolutely no time to make any kind of change. We make this point to say, well, you know what? I'm just too young, or I don't have my license yet, so I can't do anything that unless my mom or my dad takes me somewhere, or listen, if I start going to church more and quit that travel league team, my coach is going to hate me. He'll never have me be a part of something again, or if I tell him that I want to make more time for that, if I want to go on that retreat, but there's a game and my coach will just make me quit and will kick me off, and I want to. So we make all these excuses up in every single moment and every single thing that we have in our life. I can't be a part of that this week because I didn't get my hair. I had a dude straight up tell me one time when we were having a retreat on a weekend that he could not come because he had to get his hair cut. I'm like, bro, come with me. I got some clippers. I'll take care of that for you this weekend. I was just like, these are the things that we do in our heads. We make up these excuses and they start to seem totally valid to us. Yet in the end, that's what they are. They're an excuse. In every single thing that we do, we find excuses. So let me ask you, what's your excuse? What is the thing that you are using against God to say, I don't have to do anything for you? What is the one thing that you have said in your life? What is the one thing? Maybe you said, I surrender it all. I give it all to you, God. I'm going to let you have this. I'm going to let you do this. But that thing, nah. That's mine. All right? I'm going to hang on to that one. Jesus, you can have this weekend. You can have the stuff I'm going to do. You can have the time at the houses and the service probably. You can have all that. But hey, that time at school, that's my time. My time with my friends, that's my time. And what we end up doing with God is we write out, do we not? We write out this big contract and we say, okay, God, you can have this time, you can have this time, you can't have this time because that's, and we do all these things and we say, here, God, sign right there, God. We do it in so many things in our lives. Yet God is saying, that's not how this works. You give me the blank document and I will write down what is going to happen for you. Your job is to sign at the dotted line. This is what we're supposed to do. This is how we're supposed to react. This is the way that we're supposed to live our life in everything that we're doing. I don't know. Does anybody read? Anybody readers? Any readers in here? You guys like to read? Me neither. I don't like to read. I don't. I make myself read. But I don't like to read, y'all. I don't. I'm getting better at it, but I don't like to read. A great book. It's been around for a while now. Great book. Especially for your guys' age. Don't Waste Your Life by John Piper. Anybody ever heard of that before? Any of y'all heard about it before? Great book, guys. Just a cool read. You guys need to check it out. And it talks about this idea. Don't waste your life. It talks about this idea of being urgent. Understanding that just because the age that you are doesn't mean that you can't make a difference where you guys are and what's happening in your life every single day. I'm a part of a thing. The way that I'm even here tonight and that I know Patrick is through a thing called Super Summer. Anybody, any Super Summers in the house? Guys, listen. Super Summer is an amazing thing, and it's because of this. It's understanding that just because you are a teenager, it doesn't matter if you're in the 7th grade, it doesn't matter if you're in the 12th grade, it doesn't matter where you're at in life. You can actually make a difference where you are and what God has done. John Piper made this quote in the book, and I think this is amazing. And I'm going to wrap it up with this, guys. The band's going to be coming up. They're going to play a couple more songs. We're going to worship together. We're just going to let Jesus have the rest of the night. But here's what it says. He said, you don't have to know a lot of things for your life to make a lasting difference in the world. But you do have to know the few great things that matter and then be willing to live for them and die for them. The people that make a durable difference in the world are not the people who have mastered many things, but who have been mastered by one great thing. Let me say that for you one more time. The people that make a durable difference in the world are not the people who have mastered many things, but who have been mastered by one great thing. I have no clue where you're at in your relationship with Jesus tonight. Maybe some of y'all are just on fire and you haven't been closer to Jesus ever in your entire life, and this weekend is just adding to that. It's icing on the cake. That is amazing. That is awesome. Maybe for some of you, maybe you're kind of iffy with Jesus right now. Maybe that's just maybe that's just a place where you're at right now and you're kind of here because you like it. You like being a part of it. Maybe some of you, you just know this is the right thing to do, so you're here for that and you have a little conviction in your life. Or maybe some of you, you still have questions about Jesus. You have doubts, you have worries, you have fears. You just don't know where it's at. Ask yourself once again, what is the thing holding you back? What are you waiting for? What is the thing that's going to make you finally say, Jesus, yes, absolutely, here's every bit of it. Maybe you're like Mary Magdalene and the other women and the disciples that were there, and you're just going, I'm scared. I don't know how I'm supposed to, I don't have a knowledge of this. I don't know how I'm supposed to make that happen. You know, I can't tell my friend about Jesus. What if they bring up some Bible verse and I don't know what they're talking about, and then I'm just going to look dumb. I'm just going to look like I have no idea. Well, how am I supposed to actually give my life to Jesus if I don't know every single part about Him? How am I supposed to trust in Him because He's done all these awful things have happened in my life? How is God going to do something better for me if you have all these questions, you're scared. We're all driven by that fear, guys. Every single one of us. But no matter where you are in life, I can promise you this. I don't care if you've known Him for a long time or maybe for the first time you're just starting to think about Him tonight. I promise every single one of you that Jesus is in this room right now and He is standing here with His arms wide open and He wants us to make a change. And He's saying, let's go. Let's go. Right now. Stop wasting time. Stop wasting your life. And let's go. Let's go right now. Let's be urgent about what God has done in our lives.